Hi, I'm Frankie.
And I'm Cheyenne.
And this is
Conbini Cult.
Woo. How's it going?
I'm good. I'm chilling. How about you?
Yeah, I'm okay. What's going on in your life?
Nothing in particular. Just a lot of moving prep, figuring out where we're gonna live next. Yeah. But I am excited because I always try to wear, I don't know, not fancy clothes, but dress up a little bit for the podcast. Because other than that,
it's a chance to wear all the stuff in our closets.
Yeah, exactly. Because usually I'm just at home in my pajamas all day, taking care of my baby. So when I can go out, I'm like, ooh, let me wear this and this and this. So I finally got to wear some of my earrings out. They're made by my friend Tori. Hi, Tori.
Hi, Tori.
She does polymer clay earrings, and they're all handmade. And she currently lives in the US, but she made some earrings for me and sent some over. So the ones I'm wearing today are these Monstera leaves. Yeah. And they're very, very cute. So thank you for making those for me. Her Instagram is at Keiko Clayco, if anyone is interested. But yeah, that's kind of my update, just getting to wear my earrings and feeling pretty.
Well, now I want a pair because I have
a pair.
I have a giant Monstera behind the camera.
Yeah. We're twinsing.
She can't be tamed.
Yeah.
She's huge.
So
I'm propagating her as well. So
yeah.
I love Monstera.
Yeah. So I have so many talented friends who are very creative in all different aspects. And we talk about Brandy a lot, who's made a lot of
our logo,
our clothing, she tattoos now. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. And so I just wanted to give my friend Tori a shout out too, because she makes stuff as well. So yeah, any chance I get by friends that make stuff, I'm going to rep it as much as I can. But yeah, that's my update. How about you?
My update will kind of lead into today's topic.
Mm-hmm.
So the topic is Kodomo shokudo, children's cafeterias. So we'll find out about what they are. But we did an episode recently on tattoos.
Right.
And there was a story that I forgot to tell.
Okay.
I was on Awaji Island for a work project. Mm-hmm. And we were staying at some hotel on the island, and anytime there's a public bath in the hotel, I usually just ask the clients, hey, do you happen to know if it's tattoo friendly or not? And I'm out of breath. This is tight.
You're gonna be like Keira Knightley when she passes out over the boat in Pirates of the Caribbean. Okay.
Yeah, so we're in the lobby, we're checking into the hotel, and the client was like, don't worry, I will ask. And then he goes over to the front desk, and he comes back, and he is like, you can't have tattoos in there, but I have a solution for you. And then he shows me one of those little stickers, and it's really tiny. So then I was wearing short sleeves. I pulled up my sleeve, and I was like, I don't think it's gonna work.
Yeah.
And then he just started cracking up.
I see.
He was like, I see your dilemma. Okay?
Yeah. I see.
Yeah. But speaking of tattoos, we also watched a reality show, Badly in Love.
Yeah.
And not every single one, but a lot of the people on there, I was going to say characters because I've been watching so many shows.
So many shows. Yeah. The people, the participants on there. Yeah.
The participants on there, many of them are tattooed. But on the show, they also did some volunteer work at a Kodomo shokudo.
Yeah, it was really fun to see them volunteer there. And that was actually the first time I had ever heard of a Kodomo shokudo before. Yeah. Was it for you or?
No. So I saw this article a while ago on Unseen Japan, one of our favorite resources.
Ooh.
But I put the link to the article in our episode ideas list. Okay. And then I was reminded of it when we saw it on the show.
I see.
So we're going to find out, what they are.
What it is, yeah.
And some of the arguments in support of them. And then also criticisms about it too, which will make sense when we talk about it.
Okay. Sounds good. Oh, no, ignore it. I was going to do the thing where I say something and it's 2 sentences ahead of the next. Okay. Never mind.
All right. So from this article, it's from 2019, but still relevant. From Unseen Japan. One of the very first sentences on there was, if there's one thing most people can agree on, it's the simple statement that kids shouldn't go hungry. Tell that to U.S. politicians, I guess.
Unfortunately, a lot of hungry kids over there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wish we could agree on that.
Yeah.
But, okay, so something that may surprise you. According to Japan's Department of Labor, 15.6% of Japanese live below the poverty line. 13.9% of them are kids. And that was from 2019. So I imagine it has probably gotten worse with inflation and stuff. But we will talk more in depth about that later.
Yeah, that's a bigger number than I was ever expecting. Unfortunately, it's really high.
Majority are kids.
Kids, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But
children's cafeterias. What are they?
Well, children's cafeterias, also known as Kodomo shokudo, are community-run spaces in Japan where children can receive free or very low-cost meals, often alongside homework help and social interaction.
The meals are usually less than one coin, so less than 500 yen, with an option to eat for free in exchange for volunteering. Most cafeteria fees land somewhere between 1 and 300 yen.
And they're run by volunteers, hosted in community centers, temples, or small restaurants.
Yep, they are usually open after school or on weekends, and they're funded by donations, grants, and local support. But the goal is not just food, it's to prevent isolation and create safe spaces. So they are open to children, the elderly, and also the parents.
Oh, I didn't know that, actually. Very cool. Right, but where did this first come from? Well, the first widely recognized Kodomo shokudo opened in 2012 in Tokyo. To fill the gap that Japan's public welfare assistance fails to meet, in 2012, dental hygienist Kondo Hiroko created the first children's cafeteria in a corner of her produce store in Tokyo's Ota ward. Kondo's intent was to create a space where kids could come by themselves to get a cheap meal. Adults were also welcome. Kondo also enlisted the assistance of area cram school tutors who would help the visiting youngers with their homework, and that was by Unseen Japan.
Yes, so the Kodomo shokudo movement expanded rapidly due to the rising awareness of child poverty, media coverage about these types of places, increased economic insecurity among single-parent households. And then by the early 2020s, there were 7,000 to 9,000, at least, locations nationwide, and the number continues to grow.
And then, of course, after COVID, it accelerated the demand, and many cafeterias shifted to bento distribution, food pantry models, and home deliveries.
So let's get into poverty rates.
Yeah, alrighty.
Yeah. So I think most people see Japan as kind of a wealthy country, and you don't really think about people living under the poverty line or being unhoused or anything. But of course, it is a thing here, as it is anywhere.
Everywhere, yeah.
So about 1 in 7 children in Japan live in relative poverty. We will define that later. Single mother households are particularly vulnerable, and working poverty exists, which means that the parents might have jobs, but they still struggle to make ends meet.
Japan has one of the higher relative child poverty rates among OECD nations, so the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, and there's 38 member countries in there. Relative poverty is defined as having income of less than 1/2 the national median disposable income, which for a household of one parent and one child means a monthly income, including public assistance, of 140,000 yen or less. Children raised in these households are at an extreme disadvantage in terms of medical care, meals, schooling, and prospects for higher education, and there's a clear trend of these children being unable to escape from poverty in the future. That is a stat from the Nippon Foundation.
Yeah, so that is just it's a vicious cycle. But 140,000 yen or less for a family?
Yeah, I mean,
for even a single person.
For a single person, that's almost is unlivable. It's really hard, at least, So I can't even imagine that for a family. Even I say this a lot, and I know it sounds like really corny a lot of the time, but after having a kid, after becoming a parent, you just think about those things, even because you have to, right? You have to think about someone other than yourself now. And so just thinking about how to support my family with that income is stressing me out, and I'm not even, I'm lucky enough to not be in that situation. And so it's really tough.
Yeah. This is not necessarily related to the cafeterias, but have you ever seen this guy called Miyama Void on Instagram?
I want to say no, but I feel like I just can't recall his username, and I've probably seen the video. So yes.
Okay. Because he posts a lot of videos, but a lot of it is talking about how he ran away from an abusive home when he was a child, and then dealing with going through a period of being unhoused and then being in the welfare system and in welfare housing, and just how horrible the conditions are, and how out of sight, out of mind everything is, and how the stigma and the shame that is attached to it as well.
Yeah, I think I've seen this video actually before.
Yeah. So if he would ever be willing to be a guest on this podcast, would love to chat with him.
Reach out to us, at least email or something. Yeah. But do they offer anything besides food, these Kodomo shokudos?
They might do some things like homework assistance, playtime, seasonal festivals, community gatherings, and intergenerational interaction.
Okay. Yeah, so when I was watching Badly in Love, that was the first time, I already mentioned, I saw Kodomo shokudo, and like I asked my husband what it was, and I think he was just, because he wanted to watch a show and not like have, talk to me about it, he just like quickly defined it as like, oh, it's like a place for kids to hang out after school who maybe don't have like a space to do that or something. It was like a very brief definition at the time when I was watching it.
Well, it's not wrong. But
it's not wrong, but like now, I mean, because I was like, oh, okay, interesting that the word shokudo, like a cafeteria, has anything to do with it. So now that I'm, learning about it, and it originally started to give kids meals, like to help taisaku, like help with child hunger and stuff. I was like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. Yeah. So I see.
Yeah. And they also function as a third place or third space outside of the home and school. So have you ever heard this term before? Third places? Third spaces?
I feel like I have, but I never really thought about like what it actually meant. You know? Yeah.
Just a place that's not your house to hang out and socialize.
I guess so, like libraries and stuff. Or
you can't talk in there.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Okay.
I was thinking a good example is maybe like the mall or something.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yes, that's a better example.
I mean, we're only like, 2 or 3 years apart? So when I was in middle school and high school, we'd hang out at the mall.
When I was in middle school 100 years ago.
In the 1900s. Actually, no, it was in the 2000s.
Yeah, we're not like that old, but yeah, you hung out at the mall a lot with your friends.
Yeah, we always hang out at the mall on weekends and stuff, and that was
what you did. That's what you hang out. Yeah,
but
same.
At least in the U.S., third spaces are kind of dying out. Like, I don't know if you've been to a mall in the U.S. in recent years, but...
I mean, I actually have when I went back home over Christmas time, but it was because it was like during Christmas time and I had to do some Christmas shopping.
Oh, was it busy?
No. But where my family lives currently in the U.S. is just not a busy place in general. So like anywhere I go in that area, I never think of it as crowded. So I don't know if it was that or if it was because it is a dying space or what, Could be both.
Yeah, I think, I haven't been to the mall where I used to frequent when I was a kid since maybe 2019. And at that time, it did seem very quiet. It wasn't as lively as it used to be. Like a lot of the stores had shut down.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, I think it's because the third space for a lot of kids these days are phones.
Their phones.
Yeah. Which is like very
because of the
Black Mirror dystopian to think about. But
with the internet and online shopping and stuff. And it's also kind of strange to think how, because the world for like preteens doesn't really exist much anymore either. Like shops like Limited 2 and all that kind of stuff.
Oh my gosh, Limited 2 throwback. Yeah.
Maybe they're trying to revive it, but a lot of teenagers are shopping on the same websites as adults in their
young adults,
20s, 30s, however old.
Yeah, that's true.
Why we're wearing the same stuff as like 13-year-olds.
Yeah, I know. We can get into it. It's either like sometimes when I look at my fashion or what I see that I think is cute, I'm like, oh, that's fun. And then I see, like younger people wearing it. And by younger for me, I mean like, early 20s and maybe teens. And so I can't help but feel like, am I trying too hard to be cool? Or are they trying too hard to be, even maybe they're not trying. It's just like what is marketed to these younger people, right? Like,
I think it's just what is available.
Available. Yeah, I don't know. But then sometimes, tangent, I'll like come across unwillingly. This is like, sometimes it just pops up. It'll be a little influencer, but it's like a kid.
Oh.
On my like explore page. I don't know, maybe because I just
doing skincare.
Yeah, but kind of like they just like look too young to be doing this kind of influencer type. I don't know. It's like influencer speech has become a thing, right? Or influencer accent. I'm sorry. Influencer accent is a huge thing now. And so I'm noticing at least like people and unfortunately children or at least like teens who are on social media have this similar way of speaking. I probably sound just like that right now. I can't even tell at this point, but it's really become, I don't know, very dystopian to me. Sorry, I can go on a tangent about that forever, but yeah.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
Go off, queen.
So I'm going off. But anyway, to say that, everyone is just on their phone now and not in these third spaces hanging out at, whether it's the mall or like parks or anything. I don't really see that so much. My brother is 14 and
where does he meet his friends?
Well, see, again, this is like geographically, we're in a place where if you don't have a car, you really just can't go out and do anything. And so my brother games. And so his third space is like online gaming. And so he's talking to his friends constantly, but all online through his game or through like, you know, what do they use? Like Snapchat or like FaceTiming or whatever. And it's only when he can, because he can't drive yet. Like he's not old enough. So it's only until he can get a ride somewhere where like him and his friends. My brother's also, I think, thankfully not so into the internet as like most kids his age are. So when I ask what he does with his friends when they do meet in person, and they're building a fort in the woods. So I'm like, okay, that gives me hope. Yeah,
that's good. They're touching grass.
Yeah, literally. Okay.
Yeah, but I do think that in Japan, third spaces for kids exist a lot more.
A lot more, yeah. I never see so many kids out playing in the park until I came to Japan, even today. Yeah.
And even in the mall, like I see a lot of kids in their uniforms.
They just hang out. Yeah, that's very true.
The mall is alive and well in Japan.
It is. Eon malls especially. Yeah.
But the kids, they go to parks and stuff, and you often see kids gathered together. So maybe they're on their phones too sometimes.
Making TikToks or whatever, but at least they're together. Yeah.
But it does seem a bit healthier. And there's also more after-school activities and stuff are a bigger thing here, I think. Of course, maybe kids are busy, but I think that's better than them not having anything.
That's true. I mean, when you say school activities, are you talking about bukatsu?
Yeah, like or just any types of lessons for something outside of school.
That's true, yeah. Whether they like it or not, I feel like I should preface is like they're always being somewhere interacting.
But that's also ways to socialize. So.
Yeah, very true.
Okay, so some of the volunteers at these Kodomo shokudo have reported identifying signs of things like neglect, malnutrition, and social isolation.
So that leads to, arguments in support of Kodomo shokudo. So they reduce food insecurity. They can build community bonds, help combat loneliness, offer safe adult mentorship, and just provide early intervention spaces for these kids.
Yeah. It's also a space for elderly volunteers to interact with younger generations, which is, also addressing Japan's aging society problems. So, I mean, overall, I think it's a very good thing, but we should get into some of the criticisms too.
Yeah. So critics argue that these cafeterias may normalize child poverty.
I think that's a stretch.
Yeah.
Recognizing and normalizing are different.
Yeah, that's very true. I personally don't agree with that take so much. Yeah. Another one is it allows the government to rely on volunteer labor.
That is valid.
That's very valid. Yeah. Also reduces urgency for a structural welfare reform. Yeah.
Also valid.
But because most are community-driven initiatives, the food and safety standards may vary. The funding is unstable, and then there's also no unified national regulatory framework for it. So there can be really shady, Kodomo shokudos out there too, I think.
Yeah. I feel like that's probably rare, but who knows?
You never know. Yeah.
So basically the main criticism is that it's putting the burden on volunteers instead of the government to help
with the child kids. Poverty and hunger. Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. There's also a stigma attached to it. So even though it is open to everyone, some people may feel embarrassed for going there. Like they look, like they need help or something, which is, due to social pressure and pride, but it is sad.
Yeah, it is really sad. I remember, as an adult now who really just sees the goal of helping kids out, I think this is a great, program to have. And I would love to volunteer at something like this, and just seeing how it works very quickly on a show like Badly in Love. I thought it was a great program overall. But if I'm thinking about it, in the perspective of a kid, you mentioned maybe some kids might feel embarrassed. Yeah, I understand that too.
When we talked about school lunches, we both said that we were kind of embarrassed
at times. Get the reduced or free lunch. And when I went to the middle school I went to in Hawaii, it was a uniform, but just that the t-shirt for that school was the uniform, and your pants and whatever were up to you. But those t-shirts were expensive. Like they were, at the time, I think one shirt was like $18. And like, which is, it adds up if you have to wear at least one shirt a week, like 5 times a week. And depending on your family's income, it was like a little too much for us. We got like maybe 3 shirts brand new. And then if we could find them like at the Goodwill or something, you know, so a lot of our clothes came from Goodwill. And like now as an adult, I'm like, yeah, go thrifting, send me to the Goodwill. I love it, you know, but like when you're a kid, I hated being in that store because it was like really, I really hate to admit, like embarrassing to me at the time. And now it's like, yeah, you know, people are just doing their best and families are doing their best. So
yeah, but it's understandable for kids that want to fit in.
Yeah.
But speaking of uniforms and stuff, uniforms in Japan are really expensive.
Expensive, yeah, super
like
expensive.
60,000 or something.
Crazy.
Because one of my old coworker friends, she has a daughter who I don't know if she's graduated high school by now, but her uniform was like, maybe 60,000.
And they're not wearing like a new one every day of the week, right? Do they buy that
I feel
one?
like they need to have more than one because it's
unless they just
dirty.
let it get musty. And I'm not judging. I'm just saying I'm sure there's probably families if that's all you can afford. Yeah, like I probably really, you're gonna get this one and just like when it comes Friday, it's gonna be so crusty.
I mean, we have
washing machines or you take it to the cleaners or whatever. To be fair though, like at least for the girl uniforms, it's a skirt and like a blazer, so it's not like something you need to wash the undershirt, so maybe you just buy more of those. But yeah, that is way too expensive. Also, randoseru, the backpacks,
those backpacks
that elementary school kids have in Japan,
aren't they 60,000 plus?
They can be like, depending on the brand, because they make, you know, all kinds of different brands now. They range from like 30,000 to almost like 100,000 yen. And so like, and I get it, you use it for all 6 years, like whatever one you buy when you're in first grade, you just use it all the way to 6th grade.
It's supposed to last. And like, yeah, they're very durable, but insane number for a backpack for an elementary schooler to me, you know? I don't know. I can never justify that cost, although I will have to buy one in 5 years for my kids. So I guess I got to start saving now. I guess you're starting to learn how expensive children
Childcare
are. I say that as someone who doesn't have kids yet.
I mean, well, you know.
But I feel like as she gets older, it's going to become more and more expensive because you need school stuff.
School supplies are expensive.
She's going to eat more.
Eating more. I mean, yeah, she eats a lot now. I'm like, okay. You know, but yeah, uniform, randoseru. And then just, of course, depending what kind of school you send your child to. I mean, public school is free, of course, but then you have the school lunch costs. Or if they go to public or private school, then that's like, you know, separate tuition. So yeah, maybe I was gonna say maybe my kid's gonna go to Kodomo shokudo, but I'm just joking. Unless they want to hang out, sure.
Yeah, I mean, anybody, they're open to everyone.
Yeah, why not?
So there is, I mean, I guess it depends on the place, but some of them have local government support. So some may offer grants, connect cafeterias with food banks, and provide logistical support. However, most of these cafeterias remain community-led. Japan has enacted child poverty countermeasure laws, but critics argue the funding still remains limited.
Yeah. There are 12,602 children's cafeterias operating nationwide in fiscal 2025.
Okay. So I think earlier we mentioned 9,000 plus. So
now up to
12,000 at least.
Wow.
Yeah. There's been rapid growth. 9,000 plus in 2023 to what we have now.
Yep. The Kodomo shokudo now reach about 40% of Japan's. Why did I say Japan? Like Japan. Kodomo shokudo now reaches about 40% of Japan's elementary school districts. Yeah.
Osaka Prefecture alone has 1,057 cafeterias.
Very interesting. I did see one in person too when I went over to Shikoku to look at like some new places to live. I stumbled across one in a neighborhood I might live in. So I was like, my first time seeing one in person too. So
yeah. Was anybody in there? Was it open?
I don't think it was open because I went from Sunday to Tuesday, and I think it was Sunday the day I saw it. So no, unless they just have it like closed off, so not everyone can just like look inside, right? I don't know. But yeah, maybe I'll volunteer there if I ever get a chance.
Should we volunteer?
Yeah, we should. I mean, we have 1,000 to choose from here in Osaka
Exactly.
while we're here.
Yeah. When they showed it on Badly in Love, so they were kind of decorating the place.
Yeah,
and preparing for a festival.
Mhm.
They had a little summer festival.
Yeah,
the kids.
It was so cute just seeing, because like kids truly are a product of their environment, right?
Mhm.
Like unfortunately, if they have parents that are saying like this group of people is scary or like whatever, then they're gonna copy that, right?
Yeah.
And like Japan just has this stigma around people with tattoos and like Yankee kind of people. But when you're watching the participants on the show just talk to the kids, like so many of
They're
them,
all
like,
so sweet.
they're all so sweet. The kids just like go up to them and like love them, you know. And Tekarin, right? She like
Yeah.
really like bonded with a lot of the girls there, and it was just like really nice to see that side of them as well in the show. But yeah.
Yeah, and I think Tekarin was also saying how like maybe she could start that kind of place in the future because she would love to work at a preschool, for
Yeah.
example, but she said that she wouldn't be allowed to do it because of her tattoos.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that, because I mean, technically you are allowed, you just have to cover them.
Yeah.
So I wonder if she just meant like she wants to work at a place where she doesn't have to hide
it.
who she
Yeah,
is.
maybe. And her being on that show, I mean, it's for better or for worse right now. Like the whole nation knows she has tattoos. So even if she tried to apply,
Yeah.
maybe they would be like, no. Or it could also help her make her own, you know, because she's gained that not status, but popularity, you know?
Yeah. And somebody else Ki-chan, she said that when she was younger, she would have loved to have that kind of space to hang out in because she didn't have many friends growing up.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of it's called like kagikko, I think, in Japan. So the kids who are maybe only children and they have two working parents or one, you know, where they're not home when they come home from school. And so a lot of these kids will just go home and they kind of have to like fend for themselves in a way of like, you know, getting their homework done, maybe getting dinner ready for themselves a lot. And they just spend a lot of time at home by themselves because it's not their parents' fault that they have to work, but that's just their situation, you know? So I think even if they are not necessarily in financial need or, you know, for meals to go to this Kodomo shokudo, at least for those kids who just, have no one to hang out with too, it would be a great space for them as well.
And then also going back to the show, like I do think it was really nice that they showed this kind of person that people might be, you know, kind of wary of, like interacting with kids and being so sweet. And then I definitely teared up at the end when, what was her name? Oto-san was, you know, reading like a thank you letter to the lady who runs the Kodomo shokudo. And she was like, thank you for not judging us by our appearance and letting us come here and like have such a great experience.
Yeah, I think it was a good experience for both parties, you know, the adult Yankee participants and for the kids, because in their own ways, they're kind of outcasts from typical Japanese society, right? With them being Yankee or having tattoos, and then for the kids feeling like outcasts because for a number of reasons, you know, finances or status or, you know, just not having friends or whatever. And so it's like the same sentiment of when you have a kindergarten or a daycare go visit a roujinhōmu, like an elderly retirement home, you know, like just seeing those two parties interact with each other. And so, I don't know, it was like very heartwarming overall.
Yeah. So I think overall, Kodomo shokudo are a really amazing thing. It's providing community spaces for not just kids in need, but like you know, a lot of people who need social interaction. But of course, we shouldn't forget that the burden shouldn't be on only the volunteers.
That's true. And just kind of talking about this, I remembered in a previous episode, we talked about volunteer work in Tokyo Hands. What's it called? That's the store, Tokyo Hands. What is it? Though I was like, I was a volunteer there. I feel so dumb. I volunteered there, and I can't even remember the organization.
Hi Tokyo?
Maybe Hands on Tokyo.
Hands on Tokyo.
We did talk
Tokyo
like,
Hands is a
I wasn't
understandable
wrong.
mistake.
So we did briefly talk about, you know, Hands on Tokyo and other volunteer work, and I think I mentioned a lot of the positions for me. For example, as an English speaker, it was to do like eikaiwa lessons for these like kids, and at the time I think I worded it as like a group home. But now thinking about it, I'm pretty sure there were Kodomo shokudos to like go volunteer at, because it was a space for kids to be at like after school and stuff. So I just like put that together in my mind. So if you are ever interested in doing volunteer work in Japan, I think Kodomo shokudo would be a great place to start too, especially of course if you do like kids.
If you like kids.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like the number one prerequisite. But yeah, I would love to look into it too.
Yeah, same.
All right.
Okay.
Well,
this might have been a short episode, but thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And we're going to see you next week with a mega episode about some history.
Yes, it'll be very exciting. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you.
See you later.
Bye.